One ready.
I'd like to now call this meeting of the Coventry Town Council to order at 6:30 PM. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Here.
Councilmember Ludwig.
Here.
Councilmember Shockley.
Here.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Here.
President Lima.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for the passing of former town planner Russ Crossman. Thank you. Emergency evacuation plan. In the event of an emergency, those present tonight can exit out either door number 1 or 2 in the back of chambers to the front lawn of Town Hall or to the back parking lot. At this time, I'll seek a motion to approve the September 26, 2023 open session meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion. Clerk, did you receive your office receive any edits?
I did not.
No further discussion. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Abstain.
Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Moving on to public comment on docketed items. Are there any members of the public who'd like to make a public comment on a docketed item this evening? Any members of the public on Zoom, public comment on docketed items? Please raise your hand. Yes, no? Okay. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Public comment on docketed items is now closed. Moving on to public hearings. We have 5 items for public hearing this evening. Do I hear a motion to open public hearing?
We'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. With this evening, we have item A, annual renewal of Class A liquor licenses, liquor stores. Item B, annual renewal of Class B liquor licenses, restaurants with full bar. Annual renewal of Class B limited liquor licenses, restaurants with beer and wine only. Annual renewal of Class C liquor licenses with additional hours, retail full bar. Annual renewal of Class C liquor licenses, club with full bar. Before we get into discussion, I'll throw it to Solicitor Angel.
So first of all, I'd like to compliment the clerk's office for composing these lists this way. I think this is very helpful like this. But more importantly, it's my understanding that there are several applications that are incomplete. And what I would respectfully request that the council do is approve the license conditionally and instruct the clerk to hold the issuance of the actual license until those missing items in the application checklist are provided to the clerk's office. For those applications that are incomplete, I respectfully request that the council have those licenses back before the council in approximately a month, which I think is November 28th. Not for purposes of a show cause hearing, but rather for a status, so that the council can ensure that its instructions have been complied with and that the files are complete. Should the files then be incomplete at that time, the council can assess next steps.
Questions from members of the council? Councilmember Shockley.
Based on how we read through these, do we know the items that are going to be conditional so we can read through the rest to approve and then do
I
a secondary?
don't, that would have to come from the clerk's office or the town manager.
So they're in various stages of approval. Some are missing, well, most are missing fire inspections. Some are missing letters of good standing from the state. The only thing that is totally complete are the police approvals. So all of them are, like I said, are in different levels of completion. We are not going through all 75 or 73 that are pending. But we will be doing that over the next month during this 30-day process to make sure they all are, and then we will report back to the council if there are any that are lacking.
Councilman Pasqua.
That answers my question.
So what's the recommendation at this time then? Just, is it a block? If we don't have specifics, we don't know which ones are contingent upon fire marshal or whatever it might be.
My recommendation would be that you go Class A block, Class B block, and so on, conditionally approved, withhold the actual issuance of the license for those applicants that are incomplete, and with the instruction to the clerk's office that this entire list be republished to the council at its November 28th meeting to provide a status on which files remain incomplete.
Okay. We are in a public hearing, so I will go with that and give the public that opportunity, starting with A, annual renewal of Class A liquor licenses, liquor stores. This is on page 15 to 17 in your packets. Any members of the public like to be heard on any of the Class A licenses? Any members of the public on Zoom? Any members of the public on B, annual renewal of Class B liquor licenses, restaurants with full bar? Page 18 to 21 in your packets.
Beg your pardon.
Item C, annual renewal of Class B limited liquor licenses, restaurants with beer and wine only. Item 22, pages 22 to 24 in your packet. It's gonna vote after we get out of public hearing. Item D, annual renewal of Class C liquor licenses with additional hours, retail full bar. Pages 25 to 27 in your packet. And item E, pages 28 to 30 in your packet, annual renewal of Class D liquor licenses, club with full bar. Public like to be heard. Additional discussion from members of the council? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. This time we'll move to votes. On item A, do I hear a motion to conditionally approve the annual renewal of the Class A liquor licenses as a block?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? This is just to block vote. Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Do I hear a motion to conditionally approve as a block the annual renewal of Class A liquor licenses, liquor stores? Withholding the license until our November 28th council meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Councilor Shockley.
So if they've met their requirements, are we holding the license or are we just holding the license until they meet them? And on the 28th, we're going to find out the status.
I don't think any of them on the list have met all checklist requirements.
But even with that, if they meet them within the next 30 days, the license is approved, right?
Yes.
They don't have to wait till the 28th of November.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't know that that's how the motion
That's correct.
was.
You are correct. The motion should be amended, if I may. It's a conditional approval. Hold the licenses for which the applications are incomplete. And for those that are incomplete, the clerk will provide the council with an update as to what the missing items are at its November 28th meeting, and also provide the council with a list of those licenses that were released because they met the requirements. How's that?
I'll make the motion as the solicitors just said.
ditto. Thank you for the, thank you, amendment to the motion by Vice President LeBlanc. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion on the amendment to the motion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Back to the motion as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Does someone have the word salad for me? Jamie, I saw you taking notes. Do you have it?
Can we make the motion the same motion as for A?
We just say ditto.
If it's good with legal counsel, it's good with me.
Yeah.
Ditto is a highly technical term. I understand.
Yeah,
that's-
yeah.
I think that's fine.
Um,
We're on the records.
I,
You have to do each class. as a
each class is a
so
block, yeah. So item B, do I hear a motion to take all annual renewal of Class B liquor licenses, restaurants with full bar as a block?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Do I hear a motion for ditto?
Make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion? Councilmember Shockley.
I just want to make certain that all of these establishments have been approved by the police. I know there is at least one establishment on here that's been brought before us in the past, and I just want to make sure that the police have completely signed off.
Can you say that on the record?
I believe all of the police inspections have been completed, but I will double check that one.
I have a notice here that they were all completed October 17th. All approved.
May I?
Yes.
If I may inquire, the solicitor's office, which one was an issue? You can just say the number.
Number 10.
I see. Thank you. Thank you.
But doesn't the conditional kind of blanket
No, that's
that?
fine. I
Yeah,
just want clarification.
I imagine the conditional kind of
Nope, and I wasn't questioning conditionally approving. I just wanted to
calling
make
it out.
sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig. Councilmember Shockley.
Oh,
I didn't vote yet. Please hold.
yeah. Sure.
October 17th.
It's got to come back before us on the 28th. So it's not the last we're seeing of it.
You don't, we're asking for a status update on the 28th, but we're basically approving these as long as they get everything into the clerk's office, right?
Mhm.
I think we should consider asking Chief Heiss. We're getting some information from the police department on this business based off of some of the events that have happened more recently.
Yes, so sir.
Do those events post-date the approval?
Yes.
Then those events have to be considered in the context of a show cause, which is separate from this.
Okay,
We're sort of in that a little bit of limbo, okay? When the council it's an initial grant of a license. The council's power is absolute. When the council is looking to impair or curtail a license holder's right, whether it be upon renewal or in the course of an active license, those items are considered in the context of a show cause. We have no evidence before us officially from the police department on which I would recommend the council act. However, the councilwoman's point is well taken. If there is information from law enforcement that has been developed, then that's something that should be brought to the attention of my office for purposes of bringing it to the council in its official capacity as the liquor licensing authority.
But we can't just say no on hearsay.
That's correct.
so Counselor Shockley, thank you for bringing this up. And can we have the town manager please connect with
Chief.
the chief on this? Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Ms. Lavoy.
Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Item C, annual renewal of Class B limited liquor licenses, restaurants with beer and wine only, pages 22 to 24 in your packet. Do I hear a motion to approve item C as a block?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
A second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig,
Yes,
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Do I hear a motion for ditto?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion on the list for item C. Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig,
yes,
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Item D, annual renewal of Class C liquor licenses with additional hours, retail full bar. Do I hear a motion to take item D as a block?
Make motion. A second.
Motion by motion by Councilman Pasco, second by Vice President LeBlanc. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig.
yes,
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Do I hear a motion for ditto for item D?
I'll make the motion. Second.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yeah.
Councilmember Ludwig.
yes,
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Item E, pages 28 to 30 in your packet. Do I hear a motion to take item E's list as a block?
Make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig.
yes,
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear the ditto motion
Make the
for
motion.
item E?
I'll second it.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig.
yes,
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Moving on to licenses, item A, annual renewal of victualling licenses, pages 31 to 36 in our packet.
You have a problem.
Manager or solicitor, any comments on victualling license? Or just pertaining to liquor?
I believe the same situation here, varying levels of approval of documentation has been submitted. So I would ask the same framework from the council for these victualling licenses.
What's the council's pleasure?
I make a motion to take them as a block. Oh, Jen.
Can I just make
Counselor
one-
Ludwig?
can make one suggestion? So the only item that I wanted some more information on from the solicitor for possibly a difference, whether we do it in a block or not, was the additional hours item. So I'm still happy to go forward in a block, but then if I don't like what I hear about the additional hours thing, then we're gonna have to pull it out anyways. So I'm open to whatever the rest of the council wants to do, but it's the only business
I'll
I have a
op-
question on.
I'll open up to discussion. Counselor Ludwig, proceed.
Okay, so I believe it's for the solicitor on page 34 of the packet. On additional hours only, number 1, Tyoke Food and Snack.
Yes,
How do we know what additional hours were requested?
would be on the application.
I don't have that.
Madam Clerk, do you have it?
I don't have it on me. But this is just for additional hours, which is normally to be open the 24 hours. They don't have a victualling. It's just the additional hours. So if they wanted to be open between 2 and 6, they can be.
2 a.m. and 6 a.m.?
Mhm.
So, sorry, can you say that again? This is a victualling license.
It's not a victualling license.
It's not a victualling.
It's all
license.
prepackaged food.
Okay,
Why is it a big-
Yeah.
It's not a victualling.
I
I
feel like
understand
this
what you're
happened
saying,
last year
Yep.
too.
but it's
Right.
on our agenda item.
As just additional hours.
Well, the agenda says it's the victual licensing,
Can we even take it?
just calling that out. I would agree.
Yeah.
This happened last year too. So maybe for this business's sake, at some point, we should figure out where to put it. Because last year, I don't think they're asking for more than they've ever asked for before.
No.
They just have to every year ask for the
this is
additional.
the new business and this is related
is?
to a similar owner as we're having
Yeah,
in town, so.
my sense of
Gotcha.
this is I would hold that this should be, these additional hours should be their own separate item on the agenda and their own separate list for that very reason.
In that,
And then it's the council's pleasure what it chooses to do with those hours.
with that being said, do I hear a motion to move item 1 under additional hours to continue it to our November 7th council meeting?
I'll make the motion to push
Motion
that.
by Counselor Ludwig, second by Vice President LeBlanc. Discussion?
Yes,
Counselor Ludwig?
the requested additional hours, I'd like to see the owner come in and address the council as to why they're requesting the additional hours. My understanding is this owner also has the Coventry Mart business and is not being a good neighbor in that side. So I'd like to know what makes this business different. Can we request that he comes to the council to explain? Can we put that in writing and notify him?
Yes, please direct the clerk to invite him to that November 7th meeting.
Thank
Now.
you.
Any further discussion on the motion to continue? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. We're back to the victualling licenses list. What's the pleasure of the council?
Make a motion to approve with the ditto.
I think we have to do a block, or no?
Oh, I thought we already did the block. Okay, I'll make a motion to vote on it as a block to approve.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc. Second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes,
President Lima.
Yes. Do I hear the ditto motion?
make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes,
President Lima.
Yes. Council Ludwig, did you have a motion? I thought you wanted to take something earlier up in the agenda.
We have David Dedakian from the EDC with us tonight. I was hoping we could just give him 10 minutes before we start the planning, the longer planning discussions, if that's okay. So can I make a motion to take the agenda out of order and move the EDC item up?
Motion by Council Ludwig,
I'll second it.
second by Vice President LeBlanc. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes,
President Lima.
Yes. Council Ludwig, the floor is yours.
So I think David's actually going to speak for EDC tonight. Thank you for joining us. And Assistant Town Manager Broadbent, do you mind also helping? We may need you to approach the mic at some point here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is David Dedakian. I own Eat Drink Rhode Island, media and marketing firm for all things small business, food related. And I'm on the EDC, as Councilmember Ludwig mentioned, along with her. And we had just had a meeting last week, so I'm going to catch you up on everything that's been going on. I joined the EDC back in June, and lots of things have been happening, which is good. In the late spring, the town manager, Perillo, assigned Assistant Town Manager Maria Broadbent to help our commission, and we've made some good headway. So she's been a great help. So thank you very much for that. For example, I hope all of you have seen the CGI videos that are on the front of the town website. It actually links off to a separate page with advertising and everything. It looks really great. And so that's one thing that's happened. And now here's the catch up with what we've been doing since then. First up, we've been working with a group called Giverang to create a custom. It's a MasterCard gift card, which is specific to the town of Coventry. Can be used at any business within the town of Coventry. It uses geofencing to allow the gift card to be used anywhere within the town zip codes. It's a MasterCard card, so it can be accepted anywhere. It's purchased online. In fact, just today, I unfortunately, I'll just show it to you on my iPad, but just today, Giverang sent the town page to us so we can review that. It looks really great. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see, the card is actually, the picture of the lake with the rainbow, that's actually the card itself. So if you purchase the card online, you have to purchase the card online. You can get a physical card and you could go into stores and use it, or it can also be a digital card, be in your wallet on your phone. So that's really, really nice progress to see. You can link to it. That page can be linked to from obviously from the website, but social media, emails, anything, people could share it. Hopefully they do. Hopefully all of you will share it. And then we could really get some progress out there. We are the only town in Rhode Island to do this. In fact, there's not a lot of towns in general that do it around the country. We're giving it a try. We'll see how it works out. But we will be the first in Rhode Island. It's in 40 cities around the nation right now. It's completely free to try. There is a $4.95 activation fee. So what we're looking to do, first of all, we're looking to launch it for November 1st, have it in place for the holidays, have it promoted heavily for Small Business Saturday on November 25th, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. What we're looking to do is to use some of the budget that's set aside for the EDC to waive the activation fee for the first 200 buyers. So we can get them out there into people's hands, they can start using them, and hopefully, there's some good feedback on it. We're also going to use a little budget for some advertising. As I mentioned, Assistant Town Manager Broadbent has been great with that. She's been working on that, and that's the Giverang program in a nutshell. I hope all of you take a look at it, buy cards, give them away to your friends and family, and tell them to shop local. Next up is the banner program. It's also run by CGI Digital, the group that did the videos for us. We just started discussing this in the last meeting last week. You're probably familiar with these types of things. They're the banners that go on the telephone poles or signposts. They go around town to advertise businesses. We'd like to, use them to kind of get people into the stores. Obviously, promote the local businesses. It's free to the town to set up. The businesses pay for the banners, and then, the company itself will place the banners. They say they use a local company for maintenance on the banners. So it all stays within the town. And again, that's CGI Digital, which Assistant Town Manager Broadbent has been working with, and she's been working on this program. We're at the very beginning stages of this, so there's not a lot of information yet, but hopefully we'll have more for you in the coming meetings. Next, as you are hopefully aware, in this past session, the General Assembly passed a legislation to eliminate the tangible tax for, well, actually, it's an exemption for up to $50,000. It's not an elimination. There's still a tangible tax if you have more than $50,000 in tangible tax, but there is an exemption for the first $50,000. That goes into effect for the next tax year, next 2024. We're asking that the council please prioritize a town manager and tax assessor to review the impact and the processes for our local businesses. For example, communicating to them what they need to do and if there's any new forms or anything of that nature for them. Hopefully our tax program is as simple as you just don't have to pay it if you're under $50,000, but that remains to be seen. We specifically decided to use some budget funds from the EDC to start up an email newsletter, Constant Contact. You're probably familiar with it. The Parks and Rec uses it. It's a very basic program. We're going to go with the simple monthly program to get small businesses and anyone really who's interested in the small business community to opt in, get the newsletter, get information like the tax forms, like the gift cards, things of that nature. We're just starting it now. So, we want to get the gift card information out in other ways as well, but it will be useful in the future for that sort of thing. And then lastly, the EDC.
Pardon me, David?
Yes.
Could I just interrupt for a moment?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So on that last request, I assume that our assessor has not even had a moment to go through everything on what that means. And I know there's a lot going on with the planning office. But at some point in Q1, the EDC thought it would be good to prioritize some sort of review so that we can help with whatever the messaging is. So specifically, what are they going to see on the tax form, or what will they not see? And then how will businesses be notified? And we can help by starting the list, the email opt-in list. We're going to be starting that almost immediately.
Yeah.
And getting those businesses to opt in, and basically through the advertising of some of the things like reminder for the gift card program. We're going to be doing press release, things like that. So hopefully we have some good names on there to help you get the word out on how we're going to handle that next year.
I think we're still waiting to get some information. Ms. Martini's waiting to get some information from the state, along with Mr. Civetti, to figure out how that plan is going
Right.
forward. I don't think they've really come out with the plan yet of the process, but once we do have that, we'll definitely push it out to you guys so we can get out to public and the businesses.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, remember, it is 2024 taxes, so there is some time to unfortunately get the exemption. And then the last item on here was the EDC has been discussing signage. EDC member Tim Pimenthal came to the council and presented back in the spring on how hard it was to get local signs ordinances. I don't know if you've looked at it recently, but it's multiple pages long. It's really quite complex, villages, rules, and all sorts of things. And Tim's opinion, and since we've all been brought to the EDC, is that businesses shouldn't have to have a lawyer just to get a sign in front of the building. Assistant Town Manager Broadbent is reviewing the ordinance, and she's going to come back to us with some feedback, and then we're going to review it again. And then we'd like to come back to you with our findings and any recommendations about specific items in the ordinance that we might be able to prioritize rewrite for. So that's everything that I've got. As I mentioned, Councilmember Ludwig is also on the commission, so I'm sure if I've missed anything, please fill in. And if you have any questions. Yes, please.
Councilmember Shockley.
We've talked about the gift card program a few times, but could you possibly send us some information on it? Just because I think it's a fantastic idea. I want to make sure I understand, because it's a MasterCard, all Coventry businesses are going to take it.
No. So
Okay.
MasterCard has its own set of rules that we obviously don't have any control
Or
over.
anyone that
There's
takes
certain,
MasterCard, I
certain
should
types
say.
of businesses the MasterCard doesn't approve. For example, marijuana dispensaries, which we don't have any, but if there were, you couldn't use the card there. But so that is, under the terms and conditions, which I'm sure everyone will read in thorough, before they buy their MasterCard. But anyway, there are terms and conditions like that. But that aside, those types of things aside, it is essentially a MasterCard. You can
Yeah.
swipe it anywhere that you can take a credit card.
In the next approximately, I don't know, 7-10 days, we're officially launching. So we'll have a website for you. It's going to be on the Coventry website, press releases. We'll have everything you need. We can get a copy of the mock-up just so you can take a peek
Yeah.
at it. It's basically as if you were to go into a store and buy a preloaded gift card. Yeah. So the big benefit here is to encourage people to buy local and show some of the cool stuff we're doing right here in Coventry. So we're very excited to get that out.
Councilman Pasqua.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
These are awesome things that you're working on, and I agree on the signage thing. When I was on the EDC, I heard multiple times from people about gripes with the signage ordinance, so that's a good one to tackle.
Solicitor Angel.
If I may, I'm in favor of streamlining signage ordinances as much as possible, but that necessarily involves zoning, planning, and the solicitor's office, because there are significant First Amendment issues that get raised in any overhaul of a signage ordinance. So whatever is proposed, I just ask that it be vetted through other departments as well before it's brought to the council.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the steps are, and Maria, do you mind stepping forward?
yeah.
I think there are steps here. Nothing's immediate. First step, Maria is actually helping us with on reviewing it with staff. Then we're going to come back and review it together. There's a few very specific items that the EDC has to make suggestions on. And then we'd all come back together. So this isn't like we're submitting something brand new. It's more like, hey, heads up, this is coming. Here's some items that we're doing, and then we're going to need some help from the council to prioritize the solicitor and everyone to look at it.
That's fair.
Yeah, good evening. That's exactly right. I think the planning director and I talked about it this morning, and one of the first steps really is to try and take the information, don't change anything, put it in a chart. So you can see what you're allowed to have and what you're not allowed to have depending on where you are. And maybe make sure that the definitions of each type of sign are easily understandable by a business owner that doesn't need to hire an attorney to get a sign permit. And then go from there. One of the things that I've been doing is reaching out to the sign companies and trying to get some opinions from them for, because they get sign permits for other towns around the state, to find out from them which ones they think work easiest. Because we don't need to rewrite something that from scratch if we can find a place where it seems to be working. Generally, they're the ones that get the permits, but a business owner should be able to understand what it is that's happening. So it may be that we don't need to change anything. It may be we just need to lay it out in a way that people can see it well. And I've worked on sign codes many times, and building codes and zoning codes and all that kind of stuff. And absolutely, it's a project that has to work closely with the staff, make sure that the staff understands what it says, and make sure that we're interpreting things the same way, no matter who's coming through the door. So absolutely, I will work directly with staff, bring staff's opinions, and look at other codes from across the state to the EDC, and then whatever recommendations they have would certainly be vetted through the solicitor's office before it comes to you.
Thank you.
Any further questions, discussion from members of the council? Thank you so much, Mr. Dedekian. And thank you to members of the EDC. Appreciate it. Moving on to report of town officers and officials. Item A, Robert Civetti, Finance Director, September 2023 Budget to Actual Report. This is on page 37 to 64 in your packet. Welcome.
Good evening. So you have in your packet the financial position through the first 3 months of the first quarter of the fiscal year. Just briefly, And if you have any questions, obviously individual line items, feel free to ask and I'll hopefully be able to answer them. If not, I'll get you the information, but revenue year to date, we're at 32,737,000, which is approximately 28% of our budget. So revenue at this point, we're a little bit higher than anticipated. The one item to note where there may be a little bit of a shortfall is in the recreation department and some of the summer programs. But with that decrease in the revenue, we expect to see a similar decrease in the expenditure. So the programs were still profitable that were run by the recreation department, just a little bit less than anticipated. Total expenditures year to date, we're at 27,277,000, or approximately 23% of the budget. So under budget where we would expect to be through the first 3 months. Gave a couple of notes there on just the pension plans as far as what we're contributing. So the school SRP pension contribution, the actuary determined contribution was estimated to be 643,000. We had budgeted 721. Currently, we're remitting the actuary determined contribution. So we may at some point contribute more than required, but at least contribute the required amount. Municipal pension, the actual determined contributions, roughly 1.2 million. We had budgeted 1.1. So in that line item, we expect to be over budget by approximately 14,000 because we are going to contribute what we're required to or what's recommended by the actuary. Again, those actuarial valuation numbers didn't come in until after the budget was prepared. So we had to estimate the contribution at that point. And again, just, various line items, we're within the budget. There's nothing surprising. There's nothing at this point that we feel that we're going to be significantly over budget on the expenditure side. Revenue, we hope it continues to go the way we're currently going so that we'll finish, with excess revenue. I can tell you, at least at this point, the interest income or the investment income that we budgeted, we will exceed that amount because we've been consistently moving money with various financial institutions and trying to maximize the rate of return. Getting anywhere from money market rates at 5% up to CDs. We've been investing in 30-day, 60-day CDs, grabbing anywhere up to 5.69% interest. So we're trying to maximize as much as we can. And there's a couple items even with we'll be updating the OPER information on the website because the end of the month, we do have our quarterly report due. So that will be finalized this week. The updated report will be put on the website. But even within the OPER fund, we've been trying to invest some of that money to realize greater investment income. And at a later date, we'll approach the council and see, how to utilize that investment income. What are our different options? And then also there's a note in here regarding the tax assessors line item. So at some point we'll work with the town solicitor to put together a resolution or an ordinance where we're going to set that money aside into a separate fund for future use. But again, as of right now, everything's trending in a good direction, at least from what we can see, and there's no surprises.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Appreciate the update. I don't know if this is a question for you or maybe the town manager, but one thing I would love for us to have this year, I'm going to hold my breath on it, is some type of detailed budget to actual for the school department as well. I don't know if we can get that, but
They're going to come in front of you, November 28th,
November 28th.
next meeting.
And what are they going to present?
Budget to actual.
The first quarter
First quarter?
Yep.
Okay.
that we
great.
talked about last night.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think our intention is to at least quarterly have them come before the council, present up-to-date financials. And then at the meeting we had yesterday, when they give a report or when the business manager or finance director of the school department provides a report to the school committee, once that's approved, they're also going to submit that to the town that I could forward over to the council.
We also talked
That'd be
about
great.
following our charter and actually presenting 3-year forecasts for each site as well. So,
I'll just start with the budget to actual.
yeah. Discussion for members of the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really though, thank you for this detail at the front. to kind of pull some things out of the full budget that are important to look at. It's very helpful.
Item B, report from Doug Mclean, Planning and Zoning Director, introduction on new zoning ordinances.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to give a very brief overview of the process. Tonight, we are reading 41 pages of zoning code amendments to initiate the advertisement period. If there's questions on sort of the direction or the nature of the code changes, I will do my best to address. But I know that our goal is to have a very, detailed and substantive presentation to you, as well as a conversation with you on November 6th. So if there's, any questions about the content, happy to address. We didn't prepare a full overview for you tonight. We anticipate getting into that on the 6th with the Planning Commission and the zoning board as a dedicated standalone night, but still very happy to discuss. In terms of just an overview of process and the timing of what you can expect from this, tonight was essentially more of a perfunctory action of initiating the advertisement period. The code changes that we've drafted, they're certainly very detailed. They cover a lot of different sections of the zoning code. They're setting the stage for the direction that we're moving. And they are all entirely focused on the new state law mandates. There's not a section of this code where we wanted to clean something else up while we were in there. We wanted to this is a fairly big bite, and we wanted it to be clear and distinctly focused on just what we needed to do for the state law mandates. The next step in the process is November 6th. That's when we'll have a nice detailed standalone night to have a nice substantive conversation about that code. Staff will give an overview of all the sections, entertain all of the discussion about it, and we'll also be able to entertain any potential edits that you may have in mind that night, keeping in mind that any of the actual document edits will be saved for the public hearing. So we can discuss it. It will be a public meeting. It'll be conversational in nature. But if you have an idea of an edit, I think I'd like to see a change here. We're basically going to earmark it. We're going to say, great. And that's a change that we'll formally make and we'll formally consider at the public hearing. After the November 6th meeting, the next step will be the public hearing, which this advertisement that we're making tonight is targeting November 28th for the public hearing. That's a regular meeting of this council. The hope is that we, are all generally pretty comfortable with where the code is headed at that point. As we've discussed, the state mandates have given us not much wiggle room. So we want to basically address the questions, address the direction that we've gone with the code, the posture that the town is taking, which is generally a more defensive posture, a conservative posture. And we want to basically be in a position where on November 28th, you feel like all of your meaty questions have been answered and you feel comfortable at that night to go in with a vote. Obviously, it's still a live ordinance. Questions and comments will be taken. There could be late arriving questions, and planning staff will be here to address any of them, address any late arriving questions or thoughts on that. And then beyond November 28th, we still have a whole section of code that we're saving in what we're calling a tier 2. So this project is all of the code changes to address the state law mandates is being addressed. The tier 1 stuff is this year to be prepared for January 1. The tier 2 stuff is happening in the first quarter of 2024. So that's at a very high level, kind of an overview of the process. But I'm happy to entertain any questions, thoughts.
So you're essentially saying tonight is not the meaty sink your teeth in. That's for the 6th. And the 28th.
That would be my advice. And
this is purely for the advertising part of the
yeah,
license.
tonight's the function of tonight in terms of the ordinance being quote unquote read is to initiate an advertisement period to be prepared for this to have a formal discussion on the 28th. But there's a lot of material and we are in complete proper format to have a workshop on this on the 6th to discuss this item in a public meeting. What we can't do is formally change it at that point, But that's the night where, we had initially thought that discussion might happen tonight. But based on reflection and on the council's pleasure, we opted to do that on a standalone night so we wouldn't be rushed. That could be a night that, we could 2-3 hours, wherever we stand at the end of it. Our goal is that you're comfortable. So that we thought was best served on a standalone night.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Councilor Shockley.
When do you think you'll be able to get the ordinance changes to us? I will not be here on November 6th, but would like to be able to take a look and get questions to you before
In the pack.
yes,
the 28th.
they are available now.
That's what's in the packet tonight, isn't it?
correct.
Yeah, but just so the council is clear, the only difference in the process with this ordinance as respects other ordinances where you have your first reading and then in 2 weeks, you have your public hearing and a consideration of the ordinance for passage. Because of the voluminous nature of this ordinance and the intricacies of its connectivity to the state law changes, what we thought best was to have a workshop to run the council through the logistical, practical, and legal aspects of the changes and why they've been proposed the way that they've been proposed. And then, of course, you'll have a full public hearing with the public comment and vote on the 28th of the council. I'm sure that we'll be taking another cut at this to make sure that we have the language right from a legal and logistical point of view before the 6th and certainly before the 28th. We will not, as the planning director indicated, be making any of those changes by way of motion on the 6th. This is a discussion among a working group. With that said, there are a number of things that as you read the ordinance, you say, I don't like this, I don't like that. There may be certain aspects of that we do not have a way to change it.
Okay, but this is the version that you plan on presenting.
Correct.
Okay.
Let me
78 to
take a look at that
118 in the
cover.
packet. 78 to 118 in the packet.
Sorry, I just wasn't sure the document you were holding there.
Starts with this.
Yep, that looks accurate. Mine is a little different, but same document.
Yeah, same. Further discussion from members of the council on the planning director's report? Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys.
We'll see you in a second.
Certainly appreciate all the efforts going into it, though.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Moving on to page 65 in our packets, resolutions of the council. Item A, resolution 2023-85, approval of 540,000 of unused bond money from 2013 at the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank to fund the plan, design, and engineering for the new Coventry High School sewer project. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Shockley,
Second.
second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion, Manager Perillo.
So this is brought back in front of you as a result of the school bond passing. There was a discussion as to what to do with this money. So this money is from a 2013 sewer bond. It's currently at the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. They're looking for us to utilize it for some other project. The project needs to be on the DEM project priority list, which this project is. The school has no financial means to begin this process. So we think that the use of this money will allow the town to start the process. So hopefully we can have the design and the plan and the engineering done for a beginning date of April, May of 24, whenever we get the federal money from Senator Reed. So this is kind of jump starting the process as opposed to waiting to use his money in May, because as you know, we're pumping at $1,700 per day still. The project's going to take 9 months to a year to complete. So getting this part of this plan done, I feel is most prudent, and in the long run will save us money. And like I said, I don't think the school doesn't, not that I think the school doesn't have any means to start this process. So that's why we're looking to utilize this money in this manner.
So we've just been paying interest on this.
Yes, I believe that's accurate. Yes,
Okay.
for 10 years.
Yeah, so that answers one of my questions. I wasn't sure if this was money that we had been approved to bond for and never bonded for, but it sounds like we bonded for it back in 2013 and just had a balance.
Yes.
Okay. And then this project would be considered a town project. This wouldn't have anything to do with annual maintenance for the schools.
Correct.
This is just a town project to work on a sewer line.
Correct.
Further discussion.
How do we find this?
The Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank reached out to us and said, please take this money. We can't hold it any longer. You have to do something with it. Either put it towards a new project, put it towards debt service, but we can no longer keep this money on our books. So that's how it was initiated.
Can we check with any other banks? I mean,
Well, Dan, like you mentioned, it's bond money that we're paying interest on. That's just sitting there. It's not working for us. It's not going towards anything. So what the hope is to kind of get this money working for us to save us money in the back end on this high school project.
so along those lines, earlier this year when we figured out there's a problem at the school and the council said, okay, we got to do something. Let's work together. Let's get the right groups together. Hey, what about Washington Oak? What about some of the other groups? And we're finding out, it sounds like there may be some pump necessities at some of the other elementary schools, things like that. So I'm going to ask the question again, and maybe there's a way to do this, maybe there's not, but is there a way to check any of these other locations that we've either gone out for possible bonding or anywhere else in the state that we may have unused funds?
I don't,
Yeah, again,
I'm not aware of any.
At this point, this amount of money was reported in the financial statement, so it's been on the accounting records here. It was just unutilized. And so one of the first times we came up with it is in preparation for the 22 audit. We obviously saw a balance there. The balance had decreased, so the previous administration did use a small portion of it to pay some of the debt service. I don't know if that came before the council or didn't, but they did utilize it to pay a portion of the debt service in fiscal 22. So at that point, that's really when we first became aware that it was out there, it was unutilized. And then as the town manager said, they contacted us a number of times. So I don't
So
think there's
probably
any other
not.
funds out there.
Okay.
We'd have to contact every bank, but hopefully through the audit process, when the auditors come through, they send confirmations on all our debt and the bonds outstanding. At that same time, they would get a response saying what's being held in escrow.
Okay,
So essentially this was held in escrow. And again, it was reported within the sewer fund.
all right, thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Shockley.
So were these funds factored in when we were determining the cost of this project and taking money from the bond as well as money from Senator Reed? Is this on top of what we had expected? We're just getting it earlier,
So
or had we considered this?
So the Senator Reed money is about 3.2 million. We plan on using $1 million from the bond.
School bond.
School bond. I'm not sure what the cost of the design and the engineering is. But this is the only money we have that can really jumpstart that process.
So we'd always been considering this money when deciding.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we had other projects in mind for it that DEM didn't allow us to use it for. We wanted to do some work at the pump stations and DEM wouldn't allow it, or Johnson Boulevard, they wouldn't allow that. But this got approval because it's on the DEM list. So the next step, if the council approves this tonight, would be to reach back out to the bank and find out what their process is to put this towards that plan.
okay. I mean, if we'd been considering the whole time for this project, it seems to make sense. It's a large sewer project for the town as well.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Two quick questions. We're saying we're going to use this 540,000. Do we have anything from Fuss O'Neill stating how much it's going to cost for the design plan?
We do not.
Do we know if it's going to be more than 540,000?
Don't know. I don't.
Not even a
I
ballpark?
can't, I don't have it. They didn't provide us a ballpark as of yet. They gave us the options of what we decided to do, but they didn't give us a ball. They didn't break it down by plan, design, engineering as of yet. It was more of a totality. So we don't know. We're assuming, we're hoping that's enough money. Because there's a lot of other parts of this puzzle, but I don't have a definitive number for you.
Got it. And then I know there's been projects that we wanted to use the DM so that we couldn't, but I do know that we recently talked about a dam issue. And I would think that these funds could probably go towards that since it's a DEM violation, but
I don't think these could, because it's not on the DEM project priority list that they come out with every year. So the current dam issue would not be covered.
interesting that a DEM violation, we still couldn't use it, but okay, thanks.
Further discussion from the council? Thank you, Director Civetti. Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Moving on to Resolution B, Resolution 2023-86 to designate the town of Coventry as a PACE municipality and to approve the CPACE agreement. This is on pages 66 to 77 in your packet. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc.
Second.
Second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion. Before we even start, I'm just gonna ask for an amendment at line 27 should be state, not stare.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Back to the resolution as amended. Manager Perillo.
This is a program that's run through the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. They came to us and asked us if we were interested in participating, like 22 other municipalities in the state are. It helps businesses in our town facilitate some energy efficiency, renewable energy programs that run through the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. So it's not something that's new to the state. I'm pretty unfamiliar with it. I know Solicitor Angel is familiar with the program. But they asked to present and asked Coventry to be part of the program. And that's why this is in front of you this evening.
I believe we have someone here from the Infrastructure Bank, Mr. Vitale. I don't know if you want to
Yes.
say a few words. Just introduce yourself. Thank you. Is the mic on? Just looking up. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, members of the council. Chris Vitale, I'm legal counsel to the Infrastructure Bank. Happy to give a brief overview if you would like of how the program works. So essentially, as was described by the manager, this is a program that was enacted by the General Assembly back in 2015. It allows communities to have their commercial property owners participate in an energy finance program. So it's not available for residential properties in town, just commercial by state law. And it essentially is a financing mechanism where it's all private money. There's no state money. There's no federal money. There's no state role in it other than the bank serves as an administrator for the program. This is a program that was very effective, long running in Connecticut, and is operated in many states as a way for commercial properties to finance energy efficiency, renewable energy projects. It essentially is a financing agreement between a private lender and a commercial property owner, where they come to an agreement about improvements to a building. In that financing agreement, a lien is entered into to secure the loan. That lien is actually recorded in favor of the town, which gives it a higher standing. If there are any mortgages on a property at the time the financing is entered into, then those mortgage holders would have to consent to being subordinated essentially to this energy lien. So it's a more attractive financing structure for lenders, which allows for better terms for the property owners to allow these to go forward. So the lien is recorded in favor of the town. The town then essentially assigns its rights to collect those payments over to the infrastructure bank, who then assigns its rights to those payments over to the lender, ultimately the fund. So this is a sort of standard financing structure in many states. As was mentioned, and Coventry would be the 23rd community in the state to enter into the program. So happy to answer any questions.
Discussion from the council. Councilmember Shockley.
Is there any liability? I don't understand exactly. I don't know the term you used as far as the town being what are we exactly in this scenario?
So the lien on the building, so it's a traditional loan between a private lender and the property owner. To secure the loan, a lien is actually placed on the property, and state law allows for that lien to basically be recognized as a municipal lien, but it's subordinate to your property, any property tax lien that the town would have on a property. So if there's a tax deficiency on a property and you conduct a tax sale, you would get paid before the tax liability would get paid before the energy lien. But it is a lien recorded in favor of the town, which gives the lender a higher level of security of getting paid back.
So I guess I wonder, do they feel more secure because we would owe the money back if the person didn't pay? I guess that doesn't.
No.
I know it's above their other liens. So like in bankruptcy or something, you'd pay it, but I just don't understand the town's role.
Solicitor Angel.
The town's role is that we essentially, the state law allows the municipality to exercise its right as a priority creditor to participate in this program, and then to assign the rights to payment to the infrastructure bank, who then assigns its right to be paid to the actual lender. We're essentially helping to secure the debt on the property so that these properties are improved to become more energy efficient as a matter of public policy. To promote that public policy, the General Assembly is essentially given municipalities the authority to help improve properties within its town without the risk of private lenders being on the hook should for some reason the property or should, in this case, it almost looks like a mortgage, the mortgage holder fails to make its payments. So at the time of foreclosure, if you will, on whether it be a tax lien or any other financial obligation, the town does not lose its priority with respect to being paid for its taxes. We're number one. And however, the finance company or bank that ultimately lends to the commercial property owner stands in front of everyone except for the town to get paid for the improvements that it has financed that meet the terms of this program. So we essentially are using our power as a municipality to improve ourselves by helping private lenders securitize a mortgage, if you will, that improves the property.
So we're not putting ourselves at risk. We're
There's no
putting the
liability.
lender in a better position.
There's no the question you asked was, what is there any liability imposed on the town? The answer is no.
Councilman Pasqua.
So basically, we're a municipal version of FHA in the situation where like we're backing this of some sort. I'm not. And right. So. Okay. So if we're gonna have if there's a lien in the town's name, is there any liability on the town as far as, I know you're saying there's no liability,
There's no
but as far as like executing the collections portion,
No.
if they default?
No, we essentially assign those rights.
I got you.
We're not involved in that process. So any misfeasance or malfeasance that may be visited upon a borrower as a result of a lender's conduct does not in any way impute any liability to the town and or for damages. It doesn't. That's not what this does.
Okay.
You know.
Further discussion from the council? Vice President LeBlanc.
Just one really quick question. How many other towns and cities in Rhode Island?
23.
23?
22.
We would be
Oh, we
23.
would be 23.
You would be 20.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Further discussion from the council? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Moving on to item 9, ordinances. Item A, ordinance 2023-4. First reading of proposed amendment to Town Code, Chapter 255 of the Code of Ordinance of the Town of Coventry entitled Zoning. Pages 78 to 118 in our packets. There's no motion, is there? No? This is a first reading of ordinance 2023-4. It has been published on the record. Any discussion from members of the council? All right. Moving on to public comment for undocketed items. Are there any members of the public who'd make a public comment on an undocketed item? Come forward, state your name and address. Any members of the public on Zoom, raise your hand to be brought in. Public comment on undocketed items. Public comment going once, twice, 3 times. Public comment is now closed. Introduction of new matters before the council. Item A, approval of Narragansett / Verizon to be granted permission to locate and maintain conduit, wires and fixtures, including the necessary sustain and protecting fixtures to be owned by your petitioner along and across the following public ways. Install anchor guy at P42 with 15-foot lead north on Windrow Platte Drive. This is on pages 119 to 120 in your packets.
Can I make a motion to continue this item to the next meeting and I can explain why?
We can just have discussion now if you want.
Sure.
Councilor Ludwig.
So again, I don't know what's happening. But if you look at the very last page of the packet where they're putting the proposed pole, there's no real road named Windrow Platte Drive.
No, I tried to look it up. I couldn't find
Yeah,
it.
so there is a Brett Windrow, I believe, who either owns or resides or something at that property. Maybe it's more of a personal driveway. However, there's no address on the right-hand side, so you don't even know whose property this is on the right-hand side.
Mhm.
Number one. Number two, it's not that I have an issue with it going on someone's property. It's that as long as it's in the public right of way, if it's right next to the road. But Director McGee is in Florida and couldn't confirm exactly where they're putting the pole. And since again, the diagram is so off, I don't think it's appropriate what they're sending us.
Mhm.
So I don't know what has happened, but something has happened in the last few months because we've approved these, most of us, for 3 years with no issues. But anytime a new pole in the last, couple of sessions here, the diagram is so wrong, I don't feel comfortable approving it. If we could get the address, if it's in the public right of way, no problem. If they're replacing an existing pole, no problem. But when they can't even put an address near where this will go, I can't even tell which neighbor
Yeah.
this is going on.
Yeah.
So I don't have any problem with the new pole going in. I just have a problem with not even being able to tell where it's going and which homeowner is affected. So I
That's
just
fair.
would like that in place. And I think Kevin is back, is it in a week or so? Back Monday. And he said he'd be happy to look into this.
I'll second the motion.
So you just want to state your motion again for me? Sorry, I cut you off.
Can we continue this item to not the 6th, the
7th.
The 7th?
Motion to continue
7th is a regular meeting. 7th.
new
is the-
business, new matters, item A to November 7th, second by Vice President LeBlanc. Discussion on the continuation. Solicitor Angel.
Just one comment. Council member Ludwig raised the issue that this seems to be happening frequently and more recently with respect to these maps. I've seen this in another municipality that this has become a problem. And I would respectfully suggest that it is the utilities issue somehow. I'm not sure what they're doing.
So maybe,
Yeah, Council Litterwood.
so Manager Perillo, maybe we can talk offline and we can kind of outline this issue and the one we discussed at the last council meeting, because there's several similarities that maybe we can escalate to let them know we're not going to be approving anything until they get us, certain piece of information.
Any
Thanks.
further discussion on the motion to continue? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Ludwig,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for the following. Item A, executive or closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, section 42-46-5A2, collective bargaining agreement between the town of Coventry and local 3484, council 94 for the period of January 1st, 2023 to December 30th, 2025. And item B, executive or closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, section 42-46-5A1, town manager 6-month job performance evaluation.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes. Excuse me. Could I have a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President
I'll
Blank.
second it.
Second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Roll call. Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes. Here?
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President Blank.
Yes.
President Lima. Yes. Could I have a motion to seal the minutes of executive session?
Make the motion.
I'll
Motion by
second.
Vice President Blank, second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion? Hearing none. Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President Blank.
Yes.
President Lima, yes. Members of the public, the council met in executive session for the following executive or closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, Section 42-46-5A2, collective bargaining agreement between the town of Coventry and local 3484 Council 94 for the period of January 1st, 2023, December 30th, 2025. And executive or closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, Section 42-46-5A1, town manager 6-month job performance evaluation. Discussion was had, no votes were taken. This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:51 PM.
Make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.